Pamela Smart. Shouts out to the ID team and all the rest. Yeah, you know. Like, subscribe, ID, and the Discovery Channel. Yes, ID and the Discovery Channel. The links are provided below. Get that Discovery Go app as well as that ID Go app. You might in fact want to get those two and combine them together on the story and the research. From my end to yours. The gruesome is telling. It is. So, pertaining to the questions and all the questionables with the Pamela Smart, I too want to know this, what the answer is. As in the special love, I'm more in question of that more than anything. Yes, when it's been stated pertaining to her husband's murder and say a teenager being involved, was he or was he not involved with that sort of thing? The case and all the rest, and her sitting behind the four walls of a jail cell. Is she rotting away? I don't even know. I allow you, the viewer, to tell me. But I'm just wondering what was so special about this special love, this young kid of all people. To have a grown man and be married to a grown man and say want to cheat with him, no, want to cheat on the grown man that you're in love involved with, and then be involved with somebody else, right? That's the same thing, and yet I said it a different way, right? Hopefully you got it and caught it, right? That's to ask what was so special about that young boy. She was 22 and he was 16 years old, right? That's a ways away, and yet not completely, and yet by law standard terms it in fact is. Is to ask, why did that sort of thing happen? Why did it play out, and why is she still, yes, in question, as in under investigation by outsiders such as the public themselves wanting to know, being investigative on your end and research, trying to pull back layers to see why did all that play out. A husband, yes, saying to be found dead, pronounced dead, and all the rest, right? And yet a young lover is tied into all that mess, the scandal up underneath that, the drama that goes into that. Why was that there? Why was that? Because see, it's all type of news reports and all that other stuff, and yet the individual, what was so special? I'm thinking to get married is to be satisfied, right? Let me look at my old school note approach, dear Oprah Winfrey, pointing back to, yes, the 70s, 80s, and all the rest, right? So, yeah. In what ways could Smart's much younger lover, Flynn, that was his last name, Flynn, treat her, say, better than Smart's husband, just enough to make her want to go off? Yeah, and be in love with him despite her not being all whatever, right? I'm saying in the jail cell, to not be able to walk free is to see what you have, right? What will make her want to go off? Not go off mentally, but get herself involved with somebody that young. Schoolboy. Do I got the age right? 22 years old and 16 years old is how many years apart, right? I'm wondering what could have been so passionate about a much older woman getting in bed with a child of all people. Back in my day, that sort of thing, in fact, used to happen back in my time, right? You had 16-year-old chicks that would be sleeping with older guys. I knew a few that would do certain things like that. You even have them in a family, so that sort of thing in society, it might be kept in hush on the secret, right? But whoever was around that considered that type of thing normal, right? And yet, so I'm just questioning all that, because to see it reversed as in a woman do that and it be with a young guy is to ask why. I'm thinking a woman would want to be with a grown, strong, and bold man and not with a child, even at the age of 22. I don't know. Yeah, we know her husband is long dead, right? That is so sad. So Smart was found guilty as accomplice to first-degree murder. Yes. Conspiracy. Hold on. to commit murder and witness tampering. Smart is serving a life sentence at Bedford Hills Correctional Facility for women. Is she still there, or has she been moved anywhere? I might in fact need to check into that to see if she's still there, because some of these individuals have been known and prone to be in a jail cell and then, yes, escorted away, as in positioned elsewhere, sometimes even out of state, to other facilities for whatever reason, because sometimes there be fights and all that, right? But yeah, Pamela Smart, that young individual, his name was William Billy Flynn, to be exact. I said Flynn, I always say last name first, right? That just don't make sense, because see, this points into even, I'm not speaking too much about the murder of her husband. I'm just trying to understand that mindset, because see, there's a secrecy approach, and even that their relationship they had, where even school teachers do that sort of thing. Older women getting involved with younger guys, right? Younger boys, not younger guys. School teachers be doing that. So that in fact points in with that. I'm just questioning on that end, outside of the murder aspect which took place, right? Her husband, him dying, and whether or not she played a part, whether that 16-year-old she was involved with the love approach, if that. But I like that. I'm tying two things together. How you tie two brands together. Those are in fact not brands, they're human beings, and yet even human beings carry brands, which once something has happened, right, to be branded with scandal is to say that as well. Tying Pamela Smart with Sadie's school teachers that choose to sleep with young boys. Why is that? What type of psychology is up underneath that? Isn't a secret move, getting in bed and wanting to be, yes, with the young boy? What's the turn on about that? I'm asking. What could they have had in common with one another outside of sex? Yeah, it's been questioned about the life insurance, the husband's life insurance policy, and all this other stuff pertaining to Pamela, and why she could have wanted the man gone, as in a way, taking a flight off, right? Her husband or whatnot. She did acknowledge her affair with Flynn. She seduced him, and Smart, yes, Pamela Smart also threatened to stop having sex with Flynn, the young 16-year-old, unless he killed her husband. Is that, or is that not a truth? That is off the hook. It's been stated, yes, Pamela Smart motive for wanting to have her husband killed was to avoid expensive divorce and to benefit a $140,000 life insurance policy. What? Yes, that sort of thing happened in real life. Yes, it does. Did you get that? It's been stated Pamela Smart's motive for wanting to have her husband killed was to avoid expensive divorce and to benefit, yes, a $140,000 life insurance policy. That is completely scandal. That helps me to never get married ever in life. Not ever. Just have a dog. And possibly a bird. Who knows, right? Yeah. That sort of thing goes on every single day. We just don't hear about it all in the news and media. When people say dropping dead or going dead and all this other stuff, and you're like, well, praise God, they're finally getting to see the other side, and this and this and this and that, and yeah, it comes out later whoever killed them or whatever, right? Or sometimes not. I wonder how many unsolved murders is out here pertaining to husband and wives, where say a husband or wife just dropped dead one day and then it's never recognized, seen, and told, even at a coroner's office, because even they possibly don't know that say somebody did that, is, and yes, helped them to drop dead, such as a husband or wife. Other side wanting to collect an insurance policy with that. Trust and believe I can sense even that goes on. He must have been mighty special for her to, or something, to threaten the young boy. You gonna threaten him, threaten to stop having sex with him, unless he killed her husband, unless he killed your husband. Pamela Smart. Too bad she can't see me on this. So I would ask her 50 million questions, possibly all up and down the block, and get strong armed with that, as in so everybody can see and hear it while I'm asking her. What's the point? Because I'm thinking to myself, a 16-year-old ain't really got a grown man mindset. Majority of females that I've been around, yeah, they a lot of times if they was 22, they would have wanted a older guy, such as maybe a 30-year-old or something, right? 22-year-old a lot of times might want a 30-year-old or somewhat like that, right? And not much more younger. Because see, there's responsibility in that or something. I'm trying to understand all that. What is the point of the sexual relation with a young guy and a much older, with the school teachers too, coaches and all that? Cause see, that young boy can't really do nothing or couldn't really do too much for a Pamela Smart. That's what I'm trying to say. Besides the murder, whatever, right? With that question and all that, being found guilty and all that. But what else can he give you outside of the bedroom? I'm thinking at that age he really can't get, unless he had raging hormones or something. Maybe that was the issue on the end of, a William Billy Flynn. That young 16-year-old she choose to have flings with and getting rid of the husband, right, in the process. That don't make sense. Raging, yeah, because to be that age is to say you still have raging hormones or something like that. But it's so odd to me how some of these older women, when they say be around or be around a much younger individual, right, on a love tip or sleeping with them, it's so weird how they convert into being little girls. They act like that, right? You can see it. I've seen it where much older women get and be with younger guys or have sex with them and then all that other stuff, and then they real giddy, the older woman or something, right? Real giddy and playful, acting like a child, like she done just dropped down to his level or something. What is that? I'm thinking that's not no borderline personality disorder or nothing. Borderline personality disorder, I would say that's dropping in age from stepping outside of the four walls of your own border to drop down to his level. That's what I mean by that, right? There's something weird and odd about that sort of thing, right? It is and it's not, right? It is and it's not. I'm thinking because he was on the way to being 17 years old despite her being 22, and yet I'm still trying to understand, because the thing that makes me look at it odd, because yes, you do have individuals that in fact marry older individual, right? You do have people that like older people and all that, but every time I look at this scandal for what it is, it always take me back to the school teachers, which makes me view it in an odd way. That's not saying that because to be 16 and 22, yeah, I said that already, right? But it's how the media portrays school teachers with younger guys. That's what's offset in my mind viewing this woman. The media has done that as well, right? Seeing, working for the media. And saying, just being an honest opinion, because see, anytime you have school teachers that say have 50 million babies and say she's much more older and yet he's a teenager and she lay down and create 50 million babies, this ain't one of them situations, and yet it's close enough, right? That's to start making a Pamela Smart look real odd. Yes, it does. The school teacher approach has did that. Because while you're walking down the street and all the rest, right, it's everyday average individuals such as you and I, the viewer. There's people that walk down the street that look like you and I, and they're in fact practicing what she has practiced. You see what I'm going with this? And yet oh well, such and such is in a relationship with such and such, and they're much more older or much more younger, right? And nobody says anything. But they have to once it's a Pamela Smart, because murder was in fact there. But yeah, it's interesting, the human level and science is up under it. That's so sad That's so sad and conniving as well that a husband had to die in that way. I mean, why not leave him out of it? I mean, despite her wanting the money and insurance policy and process. Let me pause. That's sad in itself. I'm saying, I know she wanted the whatever for the money and the divorce situation with that and wanting insurance money and all that other stuff, and yet still it ain't that serious, because see, a life could last so many years, and yet sometimes to see if her husband would have lived to see 100 years old, that's almost a attorney. That's almost not an attorney. That's almost like an eternity for some people. If they live to see 100 years old and die at like 101 or 102 years old, they'll feel like they lived an eternity. But yet for your life to be taken by a wife in that way with her lover and all that involved together, mixed together, right? Like a slight punch in the face, right? It's to say, not only does she value his life, not only value his pocket, but that's strange and odd. It's to ask, what the point? What's the point? It almost makes you want to ask, well, maybe that's why she married him from the beginning. It could be. Why Pamela Smart married her husband, because she must have known she was going to set that up along the way. To have in your mind that you're going to do something scandalous before you get there is to say, well, set it up before. As on the way, even before you get married, and say you're dating and all that other stuff and teasing people and all this other stuff, loving them and all that other stuff, you being about to get married to a man or him about to marry you, right? And then once you get with him, you know you're going to in fact use him for money in the process or something. I'm thinking and sensing that sort of ideal didn't just pop up on the scene later. There's a lot of individuals, women out here that marry for money. They in fact do. I knew a few individuals, and I had to let them know, that's not a cool move. Because once he leave you, he's going to leave you with nothing, even if you decide to set up a court situation in divorce to try to get everything out of him. The judge might in fact not even allow that to happen, despite kids being there or not, right? You don't want to marry a man just to use him for his pocketbook, because you might in fact get the bad end of the stick on your end. The deal might in fact, you might receive the bad short end of the stick on your end, right? So you don't want to marry a man for money. And yet with Pamela Smart, you can question all the way around. Could this have been one of those situations where, say, she wanted to get with him from the beginning, him not knowing that he was really going for her pocketbook years later, or whatever pertaining to her wanting to kill him or have him killed for insurance. Trust and believe, people be setting that stuff up years before. Because some of these people, in fact, be knowing of each other years before. Even before they get in a relationship, how you be friends, and then you say, well, we've been friends and knowing each other. Why don't we date? Women do stuff like that. Well, we've been knowing each other for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, or 2 years. How about we, in fact, date, and now we should get married? Women be thinking like that. Not all of them, but many of them do. Let's get married, because she's going and aiming for his pocketbook, because she know in the end she's going to try to divorce him to take everything from him, such as his money and all the rest, and also possibly even considering once she goes through the divorce, she's going to bring killing him after to get the life insurance, so that's more money. Could that have not been this case with the Pamela Smart? I could be correct on even that. Or I could be wrong. But to know many women out here is in fact desperate for money is to say, what do you have? A gold digger. A gold digger. And sometimes from the start. Because for every story I done heard, because I had to check somebody that was real close to me, which is why she don't have a man today, because to try to marry up, as in get with a man for his dollar sign, is to say, okay, well, good luck with that. Because you don't ever even know. You might go to court and have nothing in the end. That ain't gonna work. I'm wondering if Pamela was dating this man before and it was her ideal. Possibly could have been his, but what if it was her ideal to date, get in a relationship, and then slowly been planning up to divorce? No. Possibly she was thinking, well, let's date, or something, right? Or he might show interest in her and she say, okay, well, let's date, right? And then it was in her mind interest or something of marrying him or something. Marrying him and then possibly saying, well, I'll wait a few years and then what I'll do is, try to divorce him or something, or plan something around that for all the insurance and everything to go with it or something. Something about this is not right. That's even off. Did anybody catch it, what I said? Did anybody catch what I said? That's off, what I just said. I just made the mistake. Rewind the tape on even that. I made the mistake where I said, well, maybe Pamela Smart possibly wanted to marry him so that she can divorce him, so that she can kill him to get his insurance money. That's off on my end. And I'm not going to clean that up because I strung you even up into that. And yet I have to try to find a way to even fix that to make sense, because even her case don't make sense. But I was in fact wrong on my end. That's going to stick and stay as in a bulletin. And yet, with even that, say if she did say, let me figure it out. Pamela Smart was to say date him before and knew, like so many women do, not all, want to date a man, get with a man, possibly marry him for his money. It's to say, maybe, hold on, let me see. Because see, the divorce would have to go, it's a timing with that. Would the divorce go before you kill him and get the life insurance? Or would the divorce go after? But what it almost look like is for her to want a divorce to get money. Because yes, money in fact come out of divorce. Yes, it does. Especially when you're a wife, right? For her to want divorce and get money, as well as her to want to have him killed, her husband, Pamela wanting her husband killed, and for her to get the insurance money is to say she had both sides covered or something. Seemed like Pamela Smart herself tried to have both sides of the deal covered on her end. As in if something messed up or failed, she had a backup or something. Because you can't marry a man for money, say I'm going to divorce him, and then kill him. I'm going to divorce him. You can't say I'm going to marry a man and then divorce him so I can get his money and then murder him after by ways of his life insurance policy, because I don't think that sort of thing can take place, because remember, you would have had to stay married to him in order to get life insurance if you killed him. Her case is all over the place. This whole case is all over the place. That sort of thing ain't gonna work out. You can't say I'm gonna marry for money. If that sort of thing, I don't know if that's true on her end, if that's what she was believing on Pamela Smart. Let me be Pamela Smart and let me marry this man for his money. That way I can divorce him later on, but also I can get his insurance benefit if I kill him, right? So in the courtroom, I would have to divorce him first, right? Is that true? I would have to divorce him first. And possibly, I would have to divorce him first and then pull money from him. And then when he died, try to get his life insurance. But how you going to get his life insurance if you divorced him before? In court. You can't get life insurance from somebody you divorced that done died, that you done had killed. Whether the courts would have known you killed him or not. So I'm saying she must have had all her bases covered or something. Just in case of one plan failed, that she could have the other plan instead. So say, for example, if the divorce situation didn't go the way that she planned, then maybe she still thought about staying with him and then just killing him to get the insurance money. Because you can't divorce. That ain't going to work. Who didn't think of that? You ain't no way you going to say I'm going to go to no courtroom and divorce this man so I can get some funds from him and then just kill him afterwards so I can get his life insurance policy, because only a wife would have access to that thing, which is the insurance. You have to be a wife to have access to the life insurance of your husband, even if you killed him. But to be divorced is to say, well, what do you have? no life insurance policy, and no getting paid on your end. So you might in fact want to just go ahead and divorce him and just pull the funds from there. What in the world? Pamela Smart, what is she doing? Not so smart, or maybe she covered each base and yet it was falling out of line, and I had to try to catch up with even that to see. So I think that's all to be said about this case. I can't think of nothing else. It's dreary. 16 years old. They was young. Hell, she was young. I don't really know if she knew what she was doing, Pamela Smart, because if she did, more than likely she wouldn't have been caught in the way that she was. That showed you that she had a childish mindset, is what I'm trying to say, which is why Pamela Smart should have went for a much older man, because if she would have, she wouldn't have been in the situation she is in. Being in a jail cell, which showed that she didn't know what she was doing. She was childish. Despite being that age, she was still thinking at a level of a 16-year-old or something. Because you even know that 16-year-olds tell. Make a 16-year-old mad and they gonna go tell something, right? And so with Pamela Smart, if she would have been with a much more older man, she possibly could have killed her husband with a much older man, and they both could have went on by their business, and that will be the end of that. Another unsolved mystery on the end of her husband end. Because some people even duck and dodge with even that, going and finding a new man and then staying and being boyfriend and girlfriend instead of getting married and all that other stuff. And yet some men wouldn't even take the chance with her, especially if they, some men, trust and believe, some men wouldn't even take a chance with even that woman unless they gonna pimp her out or something in the end, because they possibly be laid up in the bed next to her, them saying, well, let's kill your husband together. A much older man, and not a 16-year-old. I'm using a much older man for an example. A much older man, say, planning to kill Pamela Smart's husband with her, right? A much older man possibly wouldn't trust her just enough to sleep in bed next to her on no Bonnie and Clyde type of stuff, because he would possibly think, well, we can share the funds after we done killed your husband. But while he laid up in bed, he could be thinking she might gonna do the same thing to me, try to marry me and then kill me off and try to be getting some insurance money, which could be why maybe she thought to try to do that with a much younger guy. Because yeah, I don't think she was thinking at all. I think ahead of time with stuff is what I'm trying to say, and possibly even over the head with a Pamela Smart. Possibly over her head, where even she didn't even consider, well, you should have went and did that with a much older man, right? I'm thinking if she would have did that with a much older man, yes, he wouldn't have trusted her in the end. He would possibly have been laid up in bed with Pamela Smart and not that much younger boy, 16 years old, right? A much older man will be, let me see, I'm thinking he will be much more criminalized or something. More criminal mindset, right? He wouldn't really possibly view her as a lover, right? He possibly would just view her as like a teammate. Not really even that. Where two things is in cahoots with each other, but it's criminal or something. Criminal activity. That's the type of man of Pamela Smart should have been with, and not with a young boy. Because see, that much older man would have known, well, you want your husband killed, that's to show you got a criminalized mind, right? You're a criminal in your mind. And so with him, for him to do that sort of thing, kill her husband with her, is to say even that much older man would have had a criminal mind, right? But I couldn't see them two as lovers, the much older man and a Pamela Smart. They might in fact would have went on crime sprees with that, because I'm thinking in sense, and they would have gotten away with the crime of the husband and the murder. So instead of them being lovers, they just possibly would have became two criminals full-fledged together. Not these two, no. Her with an older man committing all type of crimes and stuff like that together or something. Because see, a young boy wouldn't know all that type of thing. She would in fact possibly have to school him, her being much older than him, and yet not completely, because even some 16-year-olds don't have a mature enough mindset, and they still do crime type of stuff, right? Breaking in houses and stealing money and all that other stuff. And yet even with her mind, Pamela Smart, it shows that she had just a childish mind. I'm thinking a much older man would have settled that sort of thing. As in, he would have guided in a much older man would have guided and led Pamela Smart even in the crime. I can see that, because for her to go for a 16-year-old is to say she couldn't think at her own level, the age. Some women are 22 years old and they in fact think like they're 30 years old. And yet Pamela Smart once again was thinking at the age of 16 to get with a 16-year-old, right? She shouldn't have been committing crimes because she didn't know what she was doing. She didn't. That's messed up. So now her husband is dead. She's wasting away in a jail cell. And that 16-year-old, I'm sure, with him, he possibly don't even care. I'm sure he don't. Because as life go on and time go on, it's to say, well, you got a conscious mind and you hold on to things. But to do wrong so many years down the line is to say, well, let me forget about that. It's over now. Guilt has been served. Or justice and all the rest, right? So to just move on in life is to do that 16-year-old, to say the guilty conscious mindset of where it's possibly not there on his end or something. Oh, when he was 16, he's much older now, but I'm saying the one she was having the flings and the affair with, I'm sure, trust and believe, he more than likely don't care about that, because moving on in life takes its own course and place. And yet with her, you're like, man, Pamela Smart is looking real bad to be behind a jail cell, the four walls of a jail cell, and your husband. If you could go back in time and say, revert back and, make better choices, what would you do outside of ending up in jail by ways of killing your husband and having somebody else much younger involved in that? Would Pamela or would she have not did that sort of thing? That is so sad. Because that makes you question what type of man her husband was. Completely, despite what you're seeing on the TV screen. Sometimes TV ain't always precise, as it don't get all the way in depth, right? But you question what type of man her husband could be when nobody was around, like when they was in the house and all that other stuff at that age, her age, when she was younger, and while she was messing with him, and even before she was messing with him. This young guy, right? I'm saying because that is so sad when say if a husband is real innocent and he's willing to, I don't know, whatever, or real guilty. It's just sad all the way around, whether the husband was mean and hateful or abusive, or whether the husband was innocent and never touched her. That's just a sad situation all the way around. That's messed up. Because let me think, if I think about, hateful people, I might in fact say hateful people need to get it together, right? Or something. Being a husband to a wife and her not liking you and want to get rid of you, as in ditching your body off, right? But if the man didn't know death was coming, for an insurance policy, that's so stupid. For an insurance policy for $140,000. Do you know how long an insurance policy of $140,000 is going to last for? Not that long. Because to be that young and have a petty mindset, as which Pamela Smart herself did. Remember, she made a petty choice of getting a petty young child involved with a petty situation, right? Of killing her husband, right? And so to know that the petty mindset was there is to say she was more likely going to be petty in the decisions of getting $140,000 of insurance money of her husband's, as it's going to be spent up on a shopping spree and rather quickly. That shows she hold no value to even human life itself, because even human life is more valuable than $140,000. To know you went and killed a man and now you got to rot away in prison for that. To know you killed a man for only $140,000. $140,000 is really not a lot of money, and yet to a childish mindset back then was, right? That's nothing compared to human life. 140,000 set it side by side compared to human life. That's nothing. Because you got individuals right now that will go buy 2 cars or something. Say they $45,000 a piece with taxes, and then there you go. The money is well spent in the car. And yet that's completely undeserving because a life was taken. That's messed up. When I be hearing people murder people over insurance policy, I be like, you can't be that serious. Do you know how fast that money is gonna be spent in the end? Pretty quickly. That's sad. That's messed up. I'm saying when people, because see, even people, this shows you how fast a life insurance policy or even divorce money in the courtroom, ending out divorcing, you getting paid funds, you being the ex-wife now, right? This shows you how quickly money can spend, because for people to say win the lottery and get like $300 million, and then they got the taxes that come out with that, and then you're giving money and not really lump sum, but payments or whatever. It's people that in fact hit the lottery at all kinds of millions, and yet their money be gone as soon as they get it. Give them about a year or a year and a half to 2 years, and that money would be gone. $300 million, right? Because people spend. Some people hit the lottery, hit the jackpot, whatever, millions and all that. And then they spend money every single day as they're going. Well, I'll buy this. Let me buy a car today, and I'll buy a car tomorrow. Let me buy 5 houses today, and then I'm going to buy, rent out 2 hotel suites, and then another overseas or over here and over there, right? That's to say, if jackpot winners spend money that quickly, as to say even a Pamela Smart more than likely would have spent that money so quick. And then once the money is gone, what happened? Do you go sink into a deep depression? Because that's the question. How did she love her husband from the beginning? Because if not, that's to say she wouldn't have cared. Even, which could be why he's dead. She possibly didn't never love him from the beginning, because there's a high in that, as in you're getting all this money, and then once the money is gone, you're coming down from the high. A spender's high, they call that too. A spender's high, when you have money and funds to your great disposal, and then you spend everything, and then once it's gone, now you're depressed, right? It's to say, how would she have dealt with that once the money was gone and her husband was gone? And say how would she have dealt with that emotionally, say once the money was all gone and her husband was dead, but say if she wasn't caught, say in prison or nothing, what would she be doing right now? That's messed up. Would she not even care that her husband was dead? The killing aspect? Because some people don't care. They have people killed and they move on, right? And that's to say you still shouldn't have married them, because you could have killed somebody else. Why not commit suicide and let that be that? Because life is going to end anyway, and you're going to die anyway, right? So I'm saying with Pamela Smart, even she should have did that. I said that about Jolie Musa ex. It's points in with even that. The child that was missing, Jolie Musa, when she went missing, yes, from the area of Fairfax, Virginia area. 16 years old, her ex killed her, right? All that points and dries in too. Same direction. Yeah, you could have did that to somebody else, anybody, or yourself or something. All I'm saying, there's no benefit in the end, because if you notice, she's in the jail cell today. So what benefit was it? That's a learning experience as well. Pamela Smart is going to, yes, be in jail for God knows how long, until the ending days of her time when she croak off, right? And yet she set the scheme, and yet she didn't get anywhere. She's like, what I'm saying is Pamela Smart, listen to this. Pamela Smart set the scheme, and yet she didn't get that far, because she's in a jail cell, which means she's right back where she started. Most people don't even think and consider that. Pamela Smart considered what? Taken out of the husband, as in a takeout, right? Murdering your husband off or whatever, and having somebody else younger involved with that, right? And yet before you got to the jail cell, and before everything led up to that situation, it's to say now you're right back where you started before you committed the crime. So what benefit did it all serve Pamela Smart? Nothing at all. That's equalization. That's called math skills. Division and divisive. With that, the husband is gone. That young whatever that was involved, I don't know with him, if he's gone or secretly still talking to her, even on a jail phone. Who knows, right? And then Pamela Smart, of course, is gone on her end to a jail cell. Jail cell, that's mathematics. That is so messed up. She didn't get nothing in the end, is what I'm trying to say. Pamela Smart didn't get anything out of anything in the end. So I think that's all to be said for now. I'm about to shoot out myself as in this video. I'm going to walk to the store to get a snack. Right. That is so devastating when I think about it, because I didn't even think about that before until now. It's interesting what comes out your mouth as you sit on camera and get to going, as in moving forward in that. Driving on the end of my end, speaking forward, right? That's what I mean by the drive. And yet some of the stuff you would have never even really thought or consider is to say, well, Pamela Smart was really in it to win something, and yet she got nothing. Because everything was taken away. Her husband was taken away by her choice, if that sort of thing played out, right? The husband was taken away by her choice. That young boyfriend fling was taken away, as well as her freedom was taken away. And everything else was taken away as well, including that life insurance policy she wanted to obtain, as well as the divorce. That is so sad. That's messy in itself. Nobody can escape that, yeah, whether white and black or whatever. I'm guessing you can if you're white with money. White with money, people white with money have been known to, in fact, get over. Hell, black folks with money. Look at O.J. Simpson. That's, in fact, a true statement. If you got money, you can, in fact, face, yes, but more so escape even that. Getting over and not having to pay your dues and all that other stuff. Serving time. O.J. Simpson got off, as well as you have white folks that can get off, right? But yeah, that's messed up. So we're right here on the ID. Right? Playing now is Live Now Grave Secrets. ID logo in the far left corner. That's is in fact going on. If you click that, you can in fact watch what's going on live now. Someone you thought you knew, or a new episode, click that and it'll take you there. Watch now. Continue watching. I started something I didn't finish. Recommended for you. Homicide Hunter, Lieutenant Joe Kenda. Boy, it is fierce. Fatal Vows. Yes. Evil Lives Here. Paula on the Case. Deadly Women. Red Rum. Pamela Smart. When I move over, you ain't gonna even be able to see it. Someone You Thought You Knew, Devil Speaks. Unlocked episodes. You got Murders by Numbers Season 2, Episode 3. The Last Defense. Each one has a description. When you scroll over, you can also add this to your ad to watch later and click this to add it to your favorites, right? The Last Defense Season 1, Episode 1, expiring in 25 days. Evil Lives Here. Sugartown. Deadline, Crime with Tamron Hall. Then you got On Last Night, what was on. If you click this, it's going to take you to the sign in. You're going to have to, in fact, sign in with your subscriber, whoever you're subscribed to and all the rest, right? That's what that key is for. You need that. Yes. These all have that. See that? Lock and key is in the safekeeping. A few of them don't. ID Original Series. Pamela Smart. Notice and realize I'm speaking on Pamela Smart right now. That's in fact there too. Yes, Pamela talks about life in prison, being a media sensation, and why she still insists that she's innocent. Pamela Smart, in fact, still believes she's innocent. I'll be a fly on the wall with that. Okay, so most evil ranked. Evil Lives Here. Women in Prison, Real Talk. That fits in with her as well. Reasonable Doubt. Dead North, The Interrogation. 911 calls. Yes, 911 tapes. You got The Show Disappeared. There's all type of things. The Shark Tank. Schedule preview. The crime feed is right here and listed. If you click on this, it's going to take you outside to thecrimefeed.com, right? These two things have to go together. They represent one another. If you scroll down further, there's in fact a newsletter. When you type in your email, you would in fact get something. Yes, a newsletter in relation to investigation discovery. That's real. This individual, in fact, slaughtered her 2 children. That's sad in itself. And yet to be in tears is to say, well, what was your past and the criminal mindset? So I think that's all to be said for now. I'm going to end this video out. I will be back a little time later. Yeah. And so I am in fact gone. I'll holla on the doorstep.